Today I would like to show you an application called Azure Data Studio that is meant to be used by data engineers as they go about their business in analyzing data and doing ETL work and things like that. This tool is very similar, well, it has some similarities to SQL Server Management Studio, but it also has so much more functionality for data engineering type tasks. And that's why I wanted to show it to you today. So you can see over here on your left-hand side that it's got an Object Explorer very similar to Management Studio. And you can go through here and look at your tables and views. I've got a local instance of a database set up here. And you notice my server group I've got created, I've called it local. And that's where I'll put all my local connections for databases. So it gives you a way to organize all your databases and everything, similar to SQL Server Management Studio. The things that are different about this tool compared to SQL Server Management Studio is, number one, you can install it on Mac OS, Linux, as well as Windows. And it also has some other functionality that Management Studio simply just doesn't have. You can run PowerShell in the terminal window, very similar to Visual Studio Code. I don't know if any of you have used Visual Studio Code, but this tool is very similar to Visual Studio Code. You can install extensions. Here you can see all the extensions that I've installed and then the recommended extensions for me. So you can install these extensions and it gives the application more power to do more things. So it's really cool in that respect. You've got a PowerShell Commands Explorer. This comes from an extension. So it just essentially is an explorer of all the PowerShell commands that you can run, part of the Azure command pack. Essentially you can select a command and select the help information, and it will display the help information for the command right there in the terminal window if it's available. The next thing I'd like to show you is the File Explorer. Basically, it shows you all your open editors that you have open currently, along with any repos that you might have open. So this is fully source code compatible, source control compatible with any source control system that you want to use, Bitbucket, GitHub, Azure DevOps. It works with just about any source control provider that you have. And all you've got to do is point it to a repo, and it will essentially recognize that that's a repo and then start treating it like a source control folder. The last thing I'd like to show you before I go is a nice little tool called Jupyter Notebooks. I don't know if any of you have familiarity with Jupyter Notebooks, but Jupyter Notebooks are really great, because you can essentially explain what you're doing as you're doing it. So I can write a text cell here, for instance, and just say, I am going to query the dimension city from wide world importers. And you notice that it's creating markup down here in the actual cell. And then what you do is, in order to add an additional cell, you just scroll your mouse down by the cell, and it gives you an option of adding more a code cell or a text cell. Now you notice my kernel right now is SQL, so I'm using the SQL kernel, and so that means what code that I write here has to be SQL. So what I'll do is I'll write a select statement, select star from dimension dot city. And you'll see it's trying to do code complete, but it can't do that yet because I don't have a connection selected. So all I've got to do is just select a connection over here and click on connect. And it then is connected to Wide World Importers, to the Wide World Importers data set that I have. And then you can run the cell and it'll display the query right here for you. Now, once you have the query displayed, you can export that as a CSV file. You can export it as an Excel file or a JSON file or an XML file. If it's an analytical type query, you can also create a chart of the data, and you can build up this notebook into a really nice presentation for a client or a customer that you're working for. And when you're trying to kind of explain what you're doing as you go, it really works out very well. Now this notebook feature has the ability to run PySpark code. You can run Python 3 in here, as well as PowerShell. So don't feel limited by what you can do with these Jupyter notebooks. Of course, finally, the other thing you can do is query, and you can access that by just clicking Control N and then writing your query here in the control window. And so I'm just going to set the same query that I wrote before, dimension dot city, and then I need to select a database. Well, it looks like I need to connect to a database, so I'll connect to my Wide World Importers database here, and then I'll run the query, and there you go. There's the results. Again, you can export these results as CSV files, Excel files, JSON files, whatever you want to do. Basically, it's just a really cool tool for a data engineer. I recommend it highly if you're a data engineer and you want to work with data, and at the same time, kind of, with the use of the Jupyter notebooks, be able to explain what you're doing as you're doing it. So anyway, that's what I wanted to show you today. I hope you'll download it and give it a try. I've been using it now for about 6 months and I love it. I use it every day. So anyway, this has been another instance of Azure Every Day. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.